I'm Rose Byrne, and I'm so thrilled and honoured to be here tonight to moderate tonight's conversation with these two comic legends and stars of Palm Royale. Kristen Wiig. She spent 7 seasons on Saturday Night Live, becoming one of the most celebrated cast members ever on the show. Yes. She wrote and starred in a little film called Bridesmaids, which is where I met her. Kristen has also had standout roles in films like MacGruber, the Despicable Me franchise, 2016 Ghostbusters, Wonder Woman 1984, and Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, my personal favourite. She now stars in Palm Royale as Maxine. And next we have a true comedy icon with us tonight, Carol Burnett. Is one of the most beloved and celebrated comedic actresses of all time. Carol has won 7 Emmy Awards, a Tony, a Grammy, and so much more. She was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2005, the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor in 2013, and the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award in 2015. In 2019, she was the first recipient of the Carol Burnett Award, which the Golden Globes named in her honor for career achievement in television. Carol starred in the legendary Carol Burnett Show, which ran for 11 seasons, as well as her magnificent TV specials with Julie Andrews, Dolly Parton, and Beverly Sills. She also made memorable appearances in shows like Mad About You, The Larry Sanders Show, Glee, Law and Order, SVU, and Better Call Saul. Carol now stars in Palm Royale as Maxine's no longer comatose aunt, Norma. Please welcome to the stage Kristen Wiig and Carol Burnett. I'm the biggest fan in the house here. Kristen.
Hello, Rose.
Hello, darling. I want all these answers as well. So can you explain how this started? Walk us through the process. Who approached you about this project? What was it that made you want to sign on? This is a huge thing, to be in every single scene of a show. Like, what was it?
Initially, Laura Dern reached out, and I don't know how you say no to Laura Dern. And she had the rights to the book and had the project for a few years, developing it, and reached out to me, and we've always wanted to work together, and just asked if I would, read it and check it out, and then met everyone involved, and Abe, Sylvia, who wrote just an extraordinary pilot, and it was just sort of like, yeah, I mean, I was in from the go.
Yeah, it's such a big commitment, so you've got to fall in love,
like it.
Exactly.
Well, Abe called me.
Yes.
And just told me who was going to be in it, and I said, okay.
That's true.
That's true. I didn't care what I was going to do.
And then you found out you were sleeping for part of it.
Yeah, then I found out I was in a coma, and I said, well, that's pretty good.
And you've never worked together before?
No,
That's
never.
extraordinary to me.
I know.
Wow. Had you met before?
No.
Really?
No. We met at the table read.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
And
oh
I
my gosh.
started to cry. I did. I was embarrassed, but I let it out.
And so Abe called you, so it was...
Abe called, and then he told me who was in it, and I said, I'm in, it's okay. And then I got the script, and I thought, well, that's the icing on the cake. And I didn't mind being in the coma for the first few times. It was nice. I got up at 5 in the morning, got into the trailer, got made up, and then went to bed. and got paid.
It's truly a murderer's row of actresses. You know, it's like just one after the other.
I know.
Was that just fell into place very easily for?
I mean, as far as like the cast, I keep looking at Abe like you're going to chime in. Yeah, we kind of went out to our dream list of people, and we got so lucky. And yeah, I still can't believe. I look at the poster and I'm like, yeah, they really are in the show.
And
yeah.
I mean, the costumes and the scenery,
Yeah.
it was incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Just wonderful.
It is such a pleasure to watch. The escapism of it is just gorgeous. I keep wanting to call you Wiig, but
You can.
Wiig.
You can.
Maxine is such an intriguing character. She comes off as she's very kind-hearted. She's funny, which is it's effortless for you. But there is this underlying, tension and duplicitousness going on. I wanted what appealed to you about that and how you approached it.
I liked that, especially in the first episode, you're kind of like, is she gonna kill somebody? And I think that was something we had talked about from the very beginning, as far as like her want is very simple. Like she wants to be a part of this group. She wants to be a part of this club. And on paper that can seem very sort of shallow and like, why should I root for this person? So yeah, we needed to make her likable, and I think her having sort of this weird sunny disposition about doing these horrible things makes her a little more likable, because ultimately you do want her to get what she wants, even though it seems very sort of, like I said, like shallow and materialistic. But there's something underneath,
Yeah.
which will be revealed.
And the chemistry between you two is brilliant.
Well,
What was it actually like to finally do the scenes?
well, it was like we knew each other from another life. I don't know. And I'm happy to report that I do most of my scenes
Yeah.
with Kristen and Ricky too.
Why isn't he here?
mind
Where's
that.
Ricky?
No, but it really, we clicked.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and we still do.
We do. Yep.
But
What was the first scene you guys shot together? Do you remember
The what?
the first scene that you shot together? Do you remember what it was?
I think it was the first
It was
scene that we see. Babe, sorry, I'm going to keep
Yeah.
referring to you. Where I'm taking the dresses out, right?
Right,
yes,
right,
yes.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was sleeping. But I would, in between, setups and stuff, I would just kind of lay on the bed with her and we would just talk and stuff. It was really nice. Yeah.
Were you nervous? Or
Yes, because it's Carol, and
Oh,
she's
God.
obviously influenced me. Sorry, I'm going to talk about you. But no, because she's so personable and just just treats everybody so beautifully. And I don't know, there was an ease.
well, everybody, it was a family. Mm-hmm. It really was.
Yeah.
Everybody, there wasn't a rotten apple in the barrel.
Yeah. No, as I said, the cast is really extraordinary.
Yeah.
All those women, and everybody looks like
Yeah.
they're really having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no scoop, right?
No scoop.
There's no dirt. What I also loved about the show is the dealing with the class of it, of her trying to break into this class system that was so entrenched, and then comparatively with Laura Dern's storyline, which is another world, which I
Yeah.
thought was very. I don't know how that was for you to go between those two worlds when you were shooting it.
Well, it's funny because the women and men of the club are in such a bubble. There's so much going on in the world with reproductive rights and the war, and they're not talking about it, they're not thinking about it, they're just like, where are we going for lunch? And I think Linda and that group of women and that whole part of the storyline was so essential, I think, to tell the story and to, I don't know, have there be two sides of what a woman could and should want at that time. And I don't know, I thought it was really important. And that sort of came later in the writing process, having those two sort of separate worlds. But I think it was so important because they kind of shed light on each other.
Yeah. No, it was. I love that.
Yeah.
And did you guys ever just?
Oh, there's nothing in there.
Oh,
That's how they do it at the Paley Center.
Oh, that's good.
There you go.
Carol, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about blinking your eyes and how extraordinary you are in this episode with you and Alice and Janney. Is just so funny, and that I don't know, your effortless physical comedy is just, you know, unparalleled. And I was wondering if there was any improvisation with that, or is that something?
There was some, improvisation, a little bit. Wow. And Allison, she nailed it. We laughed. It was hard.
Really?
For me not to laugh because she was all over the place. She was looking at my mouth. She was looking for the key. I mean,
really?
I don't think that was written. I think Alice just did that. It was hard for me not to stay in character, you know. But we wordle.
Oh, you did?
Alice, we were.
They wordle every day together.
And who's better?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't know how many people have ever gotten it in one. I've gotten it in one 7 times.
You should add that to your resume.
I should have said that in the intro.
led with
She
that.
has done Wordle. I should have put that in the intro. Had you worked with Alison before?
No.
Had any of you worked together before? Or was this all like a new?
No.
Wow,
Yeah.
so extraordinary. The aesthetic of the series is really so spectacular and so fun and sumptuous and evocative. And I just want to talk about the costumes and who designed them and the time and place and all of that. It's like another character in the whole show. It's so
I was gobsmacked every time I can. And the balls, oh my God.
Yeah.
And the scenery, it was incredible. Yeah. And the costume designer,
Alex Freeberg, yes.
She adores
Yeah.
Bob Mackey, who was our costume designer on my show. And when they had the premiere last week, Bob attended, and he refused to walk the red carpet. And I said, why? Because everybody wanted to see him. He said, because I don't want anybody to think that maybe I designed the costumes.
wow.
He didn't want to full focus on Alex, which was very sad. And they got to meet at the party, and she burst into tears. It was so sweet.
Wow.
And he is such a fan of hers now, so it
cool.
was lovely, yeah.
Oh, that's what a gentleman.
Yeah.
On
I
a,
know.
who was the production designer? Who did?
John Carlos. Yeah, and they work together so well as far as who's wearing what in front of what wallpaper. And I mean, we had fish in fish tanks that were like specific colors. Wow. Yes, it was
detail.
The detail, yeah.
And where were the locations? Like we were talking a little bit backstage, but what of?
Well, that was at the Biltmore,
right.
downtown Los Angeles. We shot in LA. Where else?
We were at the Marina.
Oh, Paramount.
Paramount.
Studio. Sorry, it's been a long day. Yes, we shot it mostly in Paramount.
And we were at the Marina.
Yep. Right? In Long Beach. Guys, we shot this show like 2 years ago. Yes.
Did you guys ever chat about sort of the similarities of working on Saturday Night Live and the Carol Burnett Show? Did you?
Not really.
No, not specifically. No.
How about now?
Well, I mean, we've talked about, obviously, like I said, she's inspired me so much. I mean, that's kind of how I was introduced to sketch comedy, was watching the Carol Burnett Show. So I think for me, they feel very connected because I feel like she was sort of with me the whole time. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, our show was different because it was much more elaborate. That was about it. Excuse me.
No.
Sorry, I'm getting over a cold.
No, you're fine.
No, no.
Or am I?
I'm always intrigued when you have a background in Saturday Night Live or the Carol Burnett Show, and then you do a show like this, or any other job, but the differences of preparation for something like this to something like that. You feel like...
Not for me.
For you, it's, yeah, what... Describe it to me.
It's just show up, go to work, know your lines, and try to be truthful.
100%.
But don't try to be funny.
Yeah.
You know, because it's funny in its own way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I do make faces occasionally.
But that's just you being you, and you happen to be funny.
That's my truth.
Yes, exactly. Yes. If anything, I also feel like, because SNL is so fast,
Yeah.
I feel like you can do anything in like 5 minutes. So I feel like sometimes with the show, it feels like it's very long and it's taking a long time. So I'm like, come on, guys, let's go. Yeah.
I can't imagine was it the same on the Carol Burnett Show, the speed at which you would...
Well, we had a script and we started on Monday and taped on Friday, and we were out of there early. I always wanted to do it like a live show. I didn't want to keep the audience, our studio audience waiting.
Right.
So sometimes we had a mic come into the shot or certain different things, and I said, let's just keep going like it's a live show. And so we would tape an hour and 15 minutes because I would do Q&A.
Really?
With the audience, and then we would start the show. And we would be out of there with all the musical numbers, the sketches, the dance, all of that, all the different costume changes. We'd be out of there in 2 hours.
Wow.
And so that was like going to see a Broadway show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
2 hours, yes. And so also, when we had our guest stars, we'd take them out to dinner after the show at Chasen's. Wow. Yeah, every Friday night. So it was really easy.
Yeah.
It was easy.
It's amazing. You're such a thoroughbred. It's extraordinary. Lord. Okay, so you said you signed on when you just heard the cast, right? You were like, is there anything else that keeps you, like, what keeps you going? What keeps you interested and engaged? After, in the business, after so long, like, how do you find, like...
What else are you going to do?
There you go. What else are you going to do? I agree. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, as I say, I wordle.
But apparently you do that very quickly.
I do very
It doesn't take up much time.
Well, no, but then I do connections.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
Some connections in.
spelling bee.
Okay.
Yes.
I gotta get on these games.
It's good for the brain, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Your brain needs that exercise.
Yeah. I know we just screened the 4th episode. Can you talk a little bit about your favorite episodes to come, or tease a little bit about what's in store?
You don't want to spoil it.
I don't want to spoil it, but I will say my favorite is coming. And I'm in it. I can't, there's so many,
Yeah.
I can't, there's too many. Are we done?
Carol's got a heart out.
Yeah.
Okay, so sitting here today, when you look back on your careers, both of you, careers, is there anyone you would want to pay homage to who you feel helped pave the way or inspired you?
I feel like I will always be indebted to Judd Apatow and Lorne Michaels because they sort of opened up big doors for me.
Yeah.
They will always be someone I thank.
Well, I don't know how many of you remember the Gary Moore show, but that got my start. You're still alive. But that was my big break. I was in my 20s when he had a very popular comedy variety show on CBS, and he hired me, and I was the second banana, and along with Durward Kirby, who was also there. Gary, the thing about Gary was it said the Gary Moore Show, but he wanted a rep company. And I remember sometimes we'd be sitting around the table reading the script for that week, and he might have a joke or a punchline or something, and he looked at it and he said, you know, give this line to Carol or give it to Durward. They can say it funnier than I can. That's who he was. So he really, and that's what I wanted to do with my show, was to have, even though it had my name on it, I wanted to have a true rep company, and I got it with Harvey Korman and Tim Conway, Vicki Morris, and so forth. But what we would do, I would, many times I'd be supporting Harvey in something, or Vicki would be supporting Tim, or Tim would, and so forth. So we spread it around, and I think that's what made it as successful as it did, was, you know.
That's extraordinary. I love that. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing
that was so sweet, you know.
It's amazing.
Give that to Carol or give it to Durward.
Yeah.
You know, that's who he was.
It's so great to hear about these moments in careers, right, where they really, like, something changes. And it's
And
extraordinary.
I loved it too because I started out wanting to be in musical comedy on Broadway. I wanted to be Ethel Merman and Mary Martin and all of that. And then I got in a show called Once Upon a Mattress, which was off Broadway. And then at the same time, I got the gig on the Gary Moore Show, so I doubled. So I was doing Gary's show and Mattress the same time. I was young. And so I realized, and it never occurred to me that it would be television for me. But when I did that, excuse me, I realized that was more fun than Broadway.
Really? Yeah. It is. I can't wait to see the rest of the show. I can't wait to see what happens with these two.
I know.
How it all ends up, and I feel like there's so many things being set up and in place and going to pay off, and twists and turns and fabulous costumes and some
All of that.
good old-fashioned entertainment, which I think is just what people feel like right now.
Yeah.
So,
It's light. You get to escape a little.
Yeah.
It's fun.
yeah, and have these two and all the rest of this brilliant cast together. So thank you, and let's hear it again for